If what's happening right now isn't just coincidence, then how much time do we have left? Fires burn up the Florida swamps. Strange lights tear across the sky over Charleston. 9 beams of light pierce the night in Japan. A jade-green streak races across European skies. An electric dragon shows up over Mount Bektu. A white ring opens in the sky above Brazil. An interstellar object approaches Earth. Mysterious drones hover near military bases. Jellyfish-like things float through the Miami sunset. A strange stone slab appears near Roswell. And there are still many more mysterious details that haven't been explained yet. So come along with me as we dig deeper and look for answers to these 10 strange signs, okay? First, please leave a prayer in the comments below as a way to show you're still listening to the Lord every day. Amen. Now, so you don't have to wait, let's jump right in with 1. The chaotic flames are swallowing up the Florida swamp. A raging fire tears through the night in Florida, turning the Everglades swamp into a long stretch of glowing red across miles in the thick darkness. And we're watching all life get pushed back by this unstoppable heat. At Big Cypress National Preserve, the fire started spreading from spots caused by people, then got out of control fast and moved right up close to major roads like Interstate 75, State Road 29, and U.S. Route 41. More than 25,000 acres have burned as the flames swept through Jerome, Copeland, Okeechobee, and Everglades City. Experts say the long drought, plus all the dry plant material, has made the fire spread super quick and almost impossible to put out. Revelation 8-7 says, "The first angel sounded his trumpet, and there came hail and fire mixed with blood, and it was hurled down on the earth. 1/3 of the earth was burned up. 1/3 of the trees were burned up, and all the green grass was burned up." When FDOT traffic cameras caught the hot spots flaring up along Alligator Alley, those long streaks of fire across the swamp made a lot of folks think of that old description. Experts say the fire has stayed at 0% containment for days on end. Thick smoke has dropped visibility to under a mile in some spots, messing up traffic and forcing roads to close for a while. It's not just the land getting wrecked. The whole ecosystem is thrown way off balance, with animals having to run or getting trapped in the flames. Revelation 16-8 says, "The 4th angel poured out his bowl on the sun, and the sun was allowed to scorch people with fire." With ground temperatures shooting up and heat spreading miles from the main burn, these words paint a bigger picture of what might be going on. A lot of people say this is just a regular wildfire, but the huge size and crazy speed of burning go way beyond what we've seen in natural fires before. What's happening in the Everglades isn't some single blaze anymore, it's a sign of bigger changes coming. If this fire is just getting started, what happens when other places start burning the same way? 2. A crack in the sky. The barrier separating 2 worlds is slowly breaking apart. The sky over downtown Charleston suddenly got split by a strange green streak of light stretching dozens of miles. It spread across the cloud layers like one huge crack, revealing eerie golden glows that looked like they were coming from the other side. Witnesses caught the sky changing colors over and over, from deep blue to cold white. Bright bands of light shot through the lower clouds and flashed like laser beams from way up high. To us, it looked like the light was dancing between the cloud layers with no source on the ground at all. Some areas lost power for a few minutes right then, while the streaks stretched longer and split apart, almost like the atmosphere itself was being torn in two. Matthew 24-30 says, "Then the sign of the Son of Man will appear in heaven, and all the peoples of the earth will mourn. They will see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of heaven with power and great glory." As videos spread, showing the light spreading across thick clouds, a lot of folks started thinking this could be a sign appearing right in the middle of the sky. Experts say this might be tied to electromagnetic disturbances in the atmosphere or some high-energy experiments from the ground. But the current models only explain light reflecting off ice crystals a few thousand feet up. The way the colors moved together and the brightness changed every second still doesn't have a full explanation. Revelation 1-7 says, "Look, he is coming with the clouds, and every eye will see him, even those who pierced him. And all the peoples of the earth will mourn because of him." While science keeps studying the data, the images of light appearing among the clouds leave a gap that equations haven't filled yet. Some people think it's just an optical illusion or a military test, but the way reports came in at the same time, plus that rare shade of light, makes this go beyond normal weather events. If the boundary between two realities is really opening up the way we just saw, what's going to come through after that layer of clouds? 3. 9 bright pillars piercing the sky, angels coming down. 9 pillars of light suddenly shot through the darkness in Daisen, Tottori Prefecture, standing straight up in the sky like angels descending. It makes you stop and wonder, how much time does humanity really have left? The sight appeared late at night in this little coastal town, where the sky usually just has mist and the distant glow of fishing boats offshore. But this time, 9 columns of light rose hundreds of feet high, lined up perfectly and glowing in perfect sync, almost like they were reflecting something not from this world. A lot of folks describe them as beings standing guard in the heavens, casting cold, white light right through the low clouds. Daniel 7:13 says, "In my vision at night I looked, and there before me was one like a son of man, coming with the clouds of heaven. He approached the Ancient of Days and was led into his presence." Some believers in the area connected this scene to messengers appearing from above, especially since the pillars stretched out and held their position for several minutes. Experts say it could be lights from fishing boats reflecting off ice crystals in the atmosphere, something called isaribi. But the almost perfect alignment and the fact that 9 showed up at the same time has left a lot of people asking questions. These pillars didn't sway with the wind and stayed steady the whole time they were seen. Revelation 10:1 reads, "Then I saw another mighty angel coming down from heaven. He was robed in a cloud, with a rainbow above his head. His face was like the sun, and his legs were like fiery pillars, with the light columns holding their shape like fiery pillars, standing tall in the sky." Some people believe this is a sign that representatives are appearing before the final trumpet sound. If these pillars of light aren't just reflections from lights on the sea, then what's really behind that dark cloud cover? 4. Mysterious emerald green streak soars across the sky. A bright emerald green streak suddenly tore through the night sky over the Iberian Peninsula, pulling a blazing fireball behind it and turning everything a sharp, glowing green. Can you really believe that's just an ordinary shooting star? Over areas like Cáceres and Barcelos, the light swept across the sky at about 50,331 miles per hour. It left a long glowing tail, then exploded like a bursting ball at around 37 miles high above the Atlantic Ocean. That made the skies over Porto and Cascais light up bright as daytime. Many folks who saw it said the ground reflected that cold green glow, windows rattled a little, and the horizon looked like it had a shining cut right through the dark. Luke 21:25 says, "There will be signs in the sun, moon, and stars. On the earth, nations will be in anguish and perplexity at the roaring and tossing of the sea." As the streak shot by and vanished in just a few seconds, social media exploded with arguments. Some folks insisted it was only a piece of comet burning up. Others stayed quiet, watching, almost like they'd been waiting for this moment a long time. Scientists explained it was a small meteoroid hitting the atmosphere. The green color came from metals burning up. But lots of people are asking why there was no warning ahead of time, and why that green was so strong it colored the night clouds too. Skeptics push back hard against any spiritual connection. Meanwhile, believers stay strangely calm. They don't argue, they just gently remind everyone that signs will come faster and faster before the end times begin. Joel 2:30 says, I will show wonders in the heavens and on the earth, blood and fire and billows of smoke. When the fireball flared bright, then faded out, leaving a faint smoke trail drifting toward the horizon, many saw it as a wake-up call, not to scare us, but to get our attention. If this was just a rock burning up in a few seconds, why did it make millions of people lift their heads at the same time and ask the same question? And if this is the first sign in a series of strange events, what will the next falling stars bring? 5. A mythical creature suddenly appears, faint and shadowy in the clouds. A huge, twisting shape showed up in the clouds high above the Changbai Mountains. It wasn't lightning, wasn't a storm cloud. It was something with a real form, like a living thing, slithering through the dark sky. Folks near Changbai Mountain in Jilin say it started as just a long, blurry streak of light. But then the clouds parted, and a dragon-like body came into clear view, head raised up, tail coiled in the glowing clouds, with little floating lights appearing and disappearing around it. The light scattered through ice crystals made sharp outlines, so the thing looked like it was slowly moving. What do you really think that was? Drop your thoughts in the comments and let everyone know. Folks near Changbai Mountain in Jilin say it started as just a long, blurry streak of light. But then the clouds parted, and a dragon-like body came into clear view, head raised up, tail coiled in the glowing clouds, with little floating lights appearing and disappearing around it. The light scattered through ice crystals made sharp outlines, so the thing looked like it was slowly moving. What would you think if you were standing right there under that sky? Revelation 12:3 says, Then another sign appeared in heaven, an enormous red dragon with 7 heads and 10 horns, and on each head a crown. When that shape stretched for tens of miles across the sky, the local people didn't call it a weather thing. They called it the return of the dragon god, a legendary being said to guard the boundary between heaven and earth. Kids got pulled inside the house. Older folks whispered about times electric dragons appeared before big events in the mountain area's history, and word spread fast that whenever this creature coils in the clouds, an old cycle comes to an end. Some said they saw silent objects flying around the dragon's body, like they were escorting or watching it, making the air feel heavy, both fascinating and uneasy. Revelation 12:9 says, The great dragon was hurled down, that ancient serpent called the devil or Satan, who leads the whole world astray. He was hurled to the earth, and his angels were hurled down with him. As the cloud slowly closed and the shape faded into the night, a lot of people felt this wasn't just some random image. It was a clear warning from heaven and earth and from the Lord. If this creature has shown itself again in the sky, how thin is the line between myth and reality getting? And once the dragon wakes up, where will the coming battle even start? 6. Mysterious white ring in the Brazilian sky, gateway to another dimension opening up. A huge, strange white ring suddenly appeared in the Brazilian sky. It looked like a gate opening up, leaving lots of people stunned and unable to look away. What about you? In Rio Grande do Sul, this spiral cloud ring showed up in the calm air. White light glowed from the center and spread out to the edges, surrounded by darker clouds that seemed to hide something behind them. Some folks said they saw a small white object spinning around the rim, while others felt like the space in front of them was stretching into an invisible hallway. Ezekiel 1-4 says, I looked, and there was a whirlwind coming out of the north, a great cloud with fire flashing forth, and brightness all around it, and in the middle something like gleaming metal. As this glowing ring held its shape for several minutes up in the sky, people quickly split into 2 clear sides. Those without any anchor looked up and trembled. They talked about everything collapsing, about a crack opening in reality, about something getting ready to step through from the other side. But the believers stood steady, eyes calm, because they trust that everything moving in the sky is still under His permission, even the cleansing that's coming close. 2 Corinthians 12-2 says, I know a man in Christ who 14 years ago was caught up to the third heaven. Whether in the body or out of the body, I do not know. God knows. When that white ring started to fade and then disappeared, some said it was just a cloud. Others believe it was a doorway that had just cracked open. If this gate really leads to another realm, then the next time it shows up, will you step forward or turn away? 7. A strange star that doesn't seem to belong to this planet is hiding in the night sky. A sudden streak of light cut across the dark sky, not exploding, not breaking apart, just quietly gliding by, like it was watching us. The object was linked to 3I, Atlas, an interstellar object moving on a very unusual path, without the long tail you see with normal meteors. It raced through the atmosphere at over 45,000 miles an hour, but the light it gave off was so steady it was hard to believe, making a lot of folks feel like something up there was keeping an eye on them. Matthew 24-29 says, "Right after those terrible days, the sun will go dark, the moon won't give light anymore, stars will fall from the sky, and the powers of the heavens will be shaken." Some people see this as just a natural event, but others believe it could be a sign hidden behind something that looks familiar. Witnesses said the object didn't wobble or shake as it passed through the clouds. Its path stayed perfect, like it was being guided on purpose. And the light wasn't flickering like a fire. It glowed steady, like some quiet, hidden power source. If this isn't just a lifeless rock, what do you think is running it? Luke 21:11 records, "There will be great signs in the sky, and big earthquakes, famines, and plagues in many places. And there will be fearful things and great strange signs appearing in the sky." When the object disappeared over the horizon without leaving any breakup trail, many believers feel it wasn't just a coincidence. If that streak of light really is a craft in disguise, what will it bring the next time it shows up in the sky? 8. Mysterious drones hovering over New Jersey and Surrey skies. A global watch fleet. Bright dots appear, then just hang there in the sky, staying perfectly still for minutes at a time, like they're watching every move we make down here. Over New Jersey and Surrey, UK, unidentified drones started showing up every night, flying in groups of 5 to 12, moving in steady patterns around neighborhoods and military sites like RAF Lakenheath, Mildenhall, and Picatinny Arsenal. Their lights don't flash, no identification signals, just quietly hovering for weeks on end. Daniel 12:1 says, "At that time, Michael, the great prince who stands watch over your people, will rise up. There will be a time of great distress, the worst since nations began until that time." Some folks believe these things aren't just technology. They're signs that a new phase is about to be revealed. Reports say they're bigger than regular civilian drones, with an estimated diameter close to 6 feet, holding steady at around 3,000 feet without getting pushed by the wind. While a lot of people feel uneasy because we can't figure out where they're from, believers see this as a planned surveillance operation that's already underway. Revelation 13:13 says, "It performed great signs, even making fire come down from heaven to earth in front of people." When these lights all disappear together in just a few seconds, many think it's not them leaving, it's more like a signal. If these things are really waiting, what happens when they finally start to act? 9. Black glowing entity, like a floating jellyfish. Right after sunset, a shimmering light, trapped in a cloud of black smoke, starts drifting slowly across the sky, and we realize the night sky isn't quiet and still like it used to be anymore. In Miami, a bunch of security cameras caught a glowing object up around 40,000 feet. It moves in a soft, gentle rhythm, like something alive. Streams of light hang down like tentacles feeling around for something below. The dark smoke around it doesn't fade away. It swirls and coils with every move, making the shape even harder to pin down. Ezekiel 1:15 says, "As I looked at those living creatures, I saw a wheel on the ground beside each of them, facing all 4 directions." Some believers see the spinning motion around the bright center of this thing as the same kind of vision people saw long ago. Footage from Ring cameras shows its shape changing in just a few seconds, stretching out, then pulling back in. It holds its form for over 90 seconds before sliding sideways through the storm clouds without making a sound. No wings, no engines, just those flowing bands of light keeping it floating up there. Psalm 68-17 says, "The chariots of God are tens of thousands, thousands of thousands. The Lord is among them at Sinai in holiness." For a lot of folks, this appearance isn't random. It's part of a judgment that's slowly being revealed. If this isn't just some mindless phenomenon, then whatever is watching from up high, what does it really want? 10. The Roswell stone with strange crop circle markings that have shown up in several places. A smooth stone was found about 11 miles from Roswell, New Mexico, carved with the exact crop circle pattern that appeared in Chiselden, Wiltshire, back in 1996. We just can't call that a simple coincidence. The stone feels cold and super slick on the surface, like it was polished with some high-tech method. The concentric circles nest perfectly inside each other, with spot-on proportions down to the inch. No chisel marks, no cut lines, no bits of debris around where it was discovered. When you place the drawing from that English field right over the carving, every single detail lines up, from the center ring to the geometric arms spreading out like quiet spinning gears. Ezekiel 1:16 says, "The appearance and structure of those wheels were like the gleam of beryl." All four wheels looked the same. Their appearance and structure were as though one wheel was inside another. The carving on this Roswell stone makes a lot of folks think of that exact description, like the nested wheel design has been brought to life in a solid object sitting out in the desert. Some people figure it's a really clever fake, but nobody's found any signs it was carried there, no proof of power tools or machinery, and the stone isn't the usual rock type for that area. It even shows a slight magnetism when you bring measuring gear near it, which just adds another layer of questions about where it really came from, stretching the mystery from Europe all the way across the ocean to America. Daniel 2:34 says, "You watched while a stone was cut out, but not by human hands. It rolled and struck the statue's feet of iron and clay, smashing them to pieces." Those words hit like a final verdict when a stone nobody carved by hand carries a message that reaches across time and space. If this stone is one piece that fits right into the bigger story of history, what will the whole picture show once it's finally revealed? 10 signs have shown up, from bright streaks cutting across the night sky, white rings swirling deep in the clouds, glowing things dancing around black smoke, all the way to that carved stone crossing the ocean. They're not standing alone anymore. They're linking up into one clear chain of signs. When you put them side by side, a bigger picture starts coming into view, where what's happening in the sky and on the ground matches things written down a long time ago. Luke 21:11 says, "There will be great signs from heaven and great earthquakes, and in various places famines and plagues. And there will be terrors and great signs from heaven." These things make a lot of folks uneasy, but they also remind us that nothing is outside His control, and every sign has its place in the plan He set long ago. In the middle of these images shaking the world, we're called to wake up, turn our hearts to prayer, and put our trust in the one who holds the order of the universe. Psalm 46:1 says, "God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble." When we face things we can't fully explain, faith becomes the solid ground that keeps us steady through the shaking. If what we've just seen touches your thoughts, feel free to leave a prayer or your own feeling in the comments below. Every prayer joins together as a voice of hope. Also, please hit like, share, and subscribe to the channel so we can keep walking together and not miss any message in these sensitive times. Thank you for staying till the end of today's journey. May peace always be with you and your family in every situation. 2 Thessalonians 3:16 says, "Now may the Lord of peace Himself give you peace at all times in every way. Amen." What would happen if all these signs started exploding at once, right now? While a country like Mexico is shaking from violence, columns of fire shoot out from Volcán de Fuego, ripping the sky with lightning. Mud flows from Huayna Putina come roaring down. Strange sounds echo across the sky over Israel. Tall rings of light appear in Oregon. Floodwaters swallow Marawi, and bright red lightning bolts explode over Texas. Are you seeing the same string of warnings? What would you do if time is running out? And there's one really important detail that still hasn't been made clear. So, come along with me. Let's dive in and look at the whole thing. First, though, drop a prayer in the comments below as a way to show your faith, okay? Now, so you don't have to wait, let's jump right in with 1. Mexico falls into chaos of smoke and dust and political conflict. Thick black smoke rises like a curtain of war as a huge country like Mexico slides deeper into a spiral of violence we can't just ignore. Major highways stretching hundreds of miles get blocked in just a few hours. Buses and businesses set on fire in broad daylight, and city life suddenly shatters into total disorder. When key areas like Guadalajara shake from wave after wave of roadblocks and burnings, a lot of folks start thinking of Matthew 24:6-7. You will hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you are not alarmed, for this must take place, but the end is not yet. The heart of this crisis is the rise of crime groups like the Jalisco New Generation Cartel, as power struggles spread across more than 20 states, including Puerto Vallarta, with over 250 roadblocks and burnings reported in a short time. Fox News reports that thousands of tourists got stuck in hotspots, while schools and hospitals had to shut down, and people had to hunker down at home for days because gunfire kept going off nonstop. In the middle of all this, Revelation 6-4 rings out almost too eerily, and another horse, bright red, came out. Its rider was given power to take peace from the earth, so that people should slay one another, and he was given a great sword. It's not just isolated fights. The clashes show deeper signs of society breaking down, with main transport routes turned into armed checkpoints, supply chains cut off, and the local economy grinding to a halt. News reports say organized attacks left cities wrapped in smoke and dust for night after night, forcing security forces to rush in on a massive scale. Meanwhile, Matthew 24-12 seems to have described this scene thousands of years ago. And because lawlessness will be increased, the love of many will grow cold. Still, some say this is just the result of long-running social and economic troubles, but the sheer scale and speed of the violence push it way beyond ordinary conflicts. When highways dozens of miles long get blocked all at once and neighborhoods turn dangerous overnight, people start wondering if this is really just a security crisis or a sign of much wider unrest ahead. And if what's happening now is only the beginning, what might the rest of the world face next? Come along with me, and let's look at some even harder to believe signs. 2. Fire from the volcano top, erupting with fierce lightning. Fire shoots up from deep inside the earth, then lightning strikes right back down into the volcano's mouth at the exact same moment. Around Volcán de Fuego, about 27 miles from Guatemala City, huge columns of ash rise tens of miles high. Then, thousands of powerful lightning bolts branch out, ripping across the night sky like a living web of electricity. Revelation 8-5 says, "The angel took the censer, filled it with fire from the altar, and threw it to the earth. There came peals of thunder, rumblings, flashes of lightning, and an earthquake." This thing they call a dirty thunderstorm happens when ash particles crash into each other in the hot gas plume. That builds up static electricity and sends lightning bolts as far as 19 miles, lighting up the whole area with flashes that go on for hours. This isn't the first time we've seen it. Scientists have recorded similar electrical discharges since the 1800s when ash builds up in the atmosphere. Luke 21:25 talks about, "There will be signs in the sun, moon, and stars. On the earth Nations will be in anguish and perplexity at the roaring and tossing of the sea. Science explains that ash and ice in the eruption column cause it directly. But looking at history, big eruptions like Krakatoa in 1883 and Mount Tambora in 1815 released energy equal to more than 130,000 atomic bombs. They changed the world's climate for years afterward. Revelation 16:18 describes, "Then there came flashes of lightning, rumblings, peals of thunder, and a severe earthquake. No earthquake like it has ever occurred since mankind has been on earth." Some believers feel these fire and lightning scenes aren't just geology. They bring back ancient descriptions of signs in the sky and on the earth, when natural forces seem to come together all at once. As the lightning keeps slashing through the thick ash cloud, a lot of folks believe today's eruption patterns are echoing warnings given long ago. And if these fiery columns are just the beginning, how many other mountains are quietly building up energy right now, waiting for the next big explosion? 3. Violent lahar in Peru. Mud and rocks rushing like a monster, roaring in the middle of the night. A huge wall of mud and rocks suddenly came crashing down the mountainside, carrying thick mud and big boulders at a scary speed, crushing everything in its path like a beast hunting its prey. This scene wasn't from a disaster movie. It happened right around Huayna Putina in the Moquegua area, about 50 miles from Arequipa. When the first pictures and videos started spreading online, you can't help but wonder, what is really waking up under that ground that seemed to have been sleeping quietly for centuries? This is a volcano that caused a major eruption back in 1600, and now, after long heavy rains, a mix of mud, ash, and rocks, called a lahar, suddenly rushed down the south slope, pouring through Quebrada el Volcán toward the Tambo River. Small communities like Quinistaquillas along the path had to stay well away from the river when the muddy flow stretched for miles with terrible destructive force. Amos 9:5 says, "The Lord God of hosts is he who touches the earth, and it melts, and all who live on it mourn." Reports from the Instituto Geofísico del Perú show the lahar moved at an unusually high speed, damaging bridges and roads and wiping out many farm areas in a short time. Some video clips show the surface of the flow swirling and rolling like it's alive, carrying huge rocks along as easily as dry branches. Revelation 16:20 says, "Every island fled away, and the mountains were not found." Online, reactions are all over the map. Some folks are panicking, thinking this is a sign of bigger upheavals coming soon. Others feel uneasy, but try to calm themselves with talk of extreme weather, while a group of believers stay remarkably calm, pointing back to those old warnings. Matthew 24:7 records, "Nation will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. There will be famines and earthquakes in various places." Some skeptics say it's just a natural result of all that heavy rain. Nothing supernatural or mysterious about it. But recent monitoring data shows lahar events in this area are happening more often. As these muddy flows keep snaking through narrow valleys, the question still hangs in the air. If this is only the first signal, could even bigger ones be quietly building somewhere else on the planet? 4. Strange trumpet sound in the sky over Israel. A strange sound that didn't seem from this world suddenly cut through the clear blue sky. It rang like a metallic trumpet echoing down from somewhere invisible, leaving lots of people along the coast near Haifa frozen as they looked up. No plane in sight, no thunder, but the sound kept going in steady beats, like a wordless call spreading from Jerusalem all the way to the seashore. It left everyone who heard it with a hollow, hard-to-explain feeling inside. Videos popped up quickly, all showing the same thing. It sounded just like a giant trumpet being blown from high up in the sky. The noise rolled through the streets, making windows rattle lightly and the air feel unusually heavy. Some folks believe this isn't just a regular sound. It's more like a sign, as if an unseen door just cracked open. Ever wonder why these sounds always seem to show up when things feel the most unsettled? Revelation 8-6 says, "The 7 angels who had the 7 trumpets prepared to sound them." While many people on social media got scared and called it a sign you can't ignore, others said it was probably just seismic noise or even something edited on a computer. Arguments started between those looking for a scientific answer and some believers who stayed surprisingly calm, saying this kind of sound was talked about a long time ago. 1 Thessalonians 4:16 says, "For the Lord himself will come down from heaven with a loud command, with the voice of the archangel, and with the trumpet call of God." These verses got shared a lot as the key to understanding it, helping some groups see the event as part of a chain of warning signs the Bible described long before. Similar reports have come up before, from the United States to Russia over the years, so this isn't limited to just one place anymore. Revelation 11:15 says, "The 7th angel sounded his trumpet, and there were loud voices in heaven, which said, 'The kingdom of the world has become the kingdom of our Lord and of his Messiah.'" If this is a sound signaling something big coming soon, then the question left is, when the next trumpet sounds, what will finally wake up? 5. The strange rainbow gate in Oregon, USA. A scene that felt both holy and hard to explain appeared after a light rain in the skies over Oregon. 2 vertical rainbow bands suddenly crossed each other, as if forming an invisible pathway between 2 different realms. Instead of curving the usual way, they stretched straight up like pillars of light, standing side by side, then crossing through the gray clouds. Many people who saw it stood quietly, overwhelmed and filled with a deep sense of reverence. Revelation 4:1 says, "After this I looked, and there before me was a door standing open in heaven. And the voice I had first heard speaking to me, like a trumpet, said, 'Come up here, and I will show you what must take place after this.'" That image made quite a few people think of a door never seen with normal eyes, as if the boundary between the visible and invisible was briefly opening before closing again. Dashcam videos recorded near Bend show 2 rainbow pillars stretching for miles, perfectly straight from the ground up to the low clouds. They appeared for just a few minutes, then vanished like they were never there. Experts say this happens when sunlight reflects off ice crystals floating in the air, but the unusual straight shape left many feeling like they were looking at a powerful sign. Maybe these things only show up when people are ready to notice them. Ezekiel 1:28 records, "Like the appearance of a rainbow in the clouds on a rainy day, so was the radiance around him." Some folks saw this as a quiet reminder not to scare anyone, but to gently turn our attention toward things beyond ordinary understanding. It felt like that light wasn't just bouncing off the sun, but coming from some other unnamed source too. In Redmond, several witnesses said the 2 light pillars crossed to form something like an arched gateway, standing still in the gray sky, before slowly fading into thin mist. Genesis 9:13 says, "I have set my rainbow in the clouds, and it will be the sign of the covenant between me and the earth." If that gate only appeared for a moment and then disappeared, the question left hanging is this: when it opens again, who will recognize it and who will step closer? 6. Annular solar eclipse, the eye over Antarctica's sky. The sky went dark in the middle of the day, and the sun suddenly turned into a bright red ring of fire hanging over the top of the frozen world. Do you see an eye watching over humanity? On the continent of Antarctica, which covers about 5.4 million square miles, this ring-shaped eclipse created a scene that was both mesmerizing and unsettling, as if nature was sending a silent message. At research stations like Concordia Station and Mirny Station, the moon covered about 96% of the sun, leaving a fiery, bright ring that lasted nearly 2 minutes against the freezing cold sky. The strange light fell on the pure white ice surface, giving the feeling that the whole planet was standing under a serious gaze. Luke 21:25 warns, "There will be signs in the sun, moon, and stars." As images of the ring of fire spread, many people on social media expressed fear, calling it an unusual sign in these turbulent times, while believers stayed calmer, saying it's no coincidence that these heavenly signs are coming one after another. They pointed to Revelation 6-12 as a charge against humanity's condition. I watched as the Lamb opened the sixth seal. There was a great earthquake. The sun turned black like sackcloth made of goat hair. The whole moon turned blood red. Joel 2:31 continues to ring out like a powerful accusation. The sun will be turned to darkness and the moon to blood before the coming of the great and dreadful day of the Lord. For some people, this is just a normal astronomical event when the moon is farther from Earth than usual, but its special position over the South Pole and the image looking like a blazing eye in the sky make many unable to see it as pure coincidence. In the growing unease, believers affirm that if this is a reminder, it also comes with a promise. The one who sees everything is also the one who has the power to protect those who put their trust in him. As the ring of fire slowly closed and daylight returned, the question still hangs in the air. If that eye is truly watching, what will be judged next? 7. Floods engulfing Asia. Water rises inch by inch, then suddenly surges over rooftops, sweeping away cars and belongings like the whole city is being pulled under by an invisible hand. In Marawi City on Mindanao Island, muddy water creeps through every street, rushing for miles, leaving people just enough time to grab each other and head for higher ground. When you see those pictures, doesn't it feel somehow like history is repeating itself? Heavy rains that go on and on, combined with high tides and salt water creeping in, turn whole neighborhoods into temporary seas where the line between land and river disappears in just a few hours. Tin roofs reflect the dull gray sky, while the swirling current seems to drag everything towards some unseen deep place, making it feel both very real and strangely dreamlike, as if the ancient past is rising up right in the middle of today. Genesis 7:17 says, "The flood continued 40 days on the earth. The waters increased and lifted the ark above the earth." That picture makes a lot of folks think of Noah's time, when the water wasn't just a disaster, but also a sign of cleansing and a fresh start, a cycle closing so a new one could begin. It's not just the Philippines. Many places across Asia are seeing more and more flooding, with salt water invading farmland and rivers overflowing their usual banks. Matthew 24:37-39 says, "As it was in the days of Noah, so it will be when the Son of Man comes. For in those days, before the flood, people were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, up until the day Noah entered the ark." These words get shared a lot as a way to say the repeating floods might mean something bigger than just weather or geography. 2 Peter 3-6 reminds us, "By these waters, the world of that time was flooded and destroyed." Even though many experts say it's due to climate change and poor infrastructure. How often and how big these recent floods are makes quite a few people wonder about larger cycles at work beyond what we can see. If the water keeps rising like in that old story, the question left isn't only how to fight the floods, but this: what ark of salvation is waiting for those who seek it? And will we recognize it in time before the current reaches its final point? 8. Angel-shaped aurora over the northern United States. On the cold night skies of Alaska and Minnesota, bands of green and purple light suddenly curved and spread out into the shape of huge wings, quietly wrapping the darkness like an invisible shield. It left us standing still under that glow, feeling peace slip into every breath. In Fairbanks, the display lasted many minutes, turning the whole sky into a living dome where the light didn't just dance, it seemed to stand guard. The aurora bands wove together into 2 matching arches of light, gently curving, then closing like wings opening across the sky. They glowed with green mixed with purple, stretching miles across the deep, dark background. Observation stations recorded this unusual shape during a strong geomagnetic storm, but its slow movement and balanced form gave it a mystical feeling, as if some unseen presence was there. Revelation 7:1 says, "After this, I saw 4 angels standing at the 4 corners of the earth, holding back the 4 winds of the earth, so that no wind would blow on the land, or on the sea, or on any tree." Many people see these words as a hint that the lights up above might not just be a natural event, but possibly a sign of something beyond ordinary understanding stepping in. Psalm 91:11 says, "For he will command his angels concerning you to guard you in all your ways." As those wings of light opened and closed overhead, some felt it as a symbol of protection, while others said it's simply the sun's wind meeting Earth's magnetic field. Matthew 24:31 records, "And he will send his angels with a loud trumpet call, and they will gather his elect from the 4 winds, from one end of the heavens to the other." These words keep coming up as a reminder that signs in the sky could mean far more than what our eyes alone can see. If those wings are quietly spreading across the dark night, what's left isn't just admiring the beauty of the light, it's wondering how long this covering will stay before the sky shifts shape once more. 9. Red Sprite 50 miles wide over Texas. The night sky over Texas suddenly tore open with blood-red streaks, branching out like an upside-down forest fire reaching into the heavens, and we couldn't look away as the whole upper sky turned a deep, ominous red, like some kind of warning sign. That light didn't just flash and vanish. It spread out, layered across the sky, hanging there like a fiery message written in the air. After big thunderstorms, when strong positive lightning hits the ground, red sprites show up, about 19 miles above the storm clouds. But this time, it spread out huge, 50 miles wide, covering a giant chunk of the sky. Photographer Paul M. Smith caught the moment, showing thick, bright red branches like blood-stained tree trunks stretching up in total silence. Revelation 6:12 says, "The sun became black as sackcloth, and the moon turned red like blood." With the clouds below going pitch dark and those red streaks crisscrossing above, a lot of folks couldn't help thinking of the sky in judgment, where the light isn't warm golden anymore, but turns into a color of alert. Science explains red sprites as electrical discharges way up in the ionosphere, a rare but measurable atmospheric thing. Still, this unusual shape, a thick, symmetrical red forest stretching tens of miles, made plenty of people feel like it wasn't just random physics, but something being drawn across the sky as a sign. Joel 2:30 says, "I will show wonders in the heavens and on the earth, blood, fire, and pillars of smoke." Those red pillars of light shot up and faded in just a few seconds, but long enough to burn the image of blood and fire mixed together into our minds, like the sky was repeating an old warning. Revelation 8-7 goes on. "The first angel sounded his trumpet, and hail and fire mixed with blood were hurled down on the earth. A third of the earth was burned up. Even though no fire fell from this sprite, the red covering everything and the fury of the storm below made many feel like we're standing at the edge of something much bigger. Skeptics say it's all just electric charge and plasma, normal atmospheric science doing its thing. But when a 50-mile wide red streak hangs right overhead, looking like a forest of blood in the sky, that uneasy feeling doesn't go away easy with a few technical words. This strange sign left more than a few folks deep in thought, as if the sky was sending a signal we have to figure out ourselves. If this red lightning is the first warning of some kind of cleansing, the question still hanging there is, which sky gets painted red next when the bigger one comes? 10. Strange cloud, like a fishbone in the sky. All of a sudden, the sky showed this odd pattern, like it was drawn with long, endless bones stretching out, branching off symmetrically, so the whole high cloud layer came alive in a way that's hard to explain. Have you ever looked up and felt like some giant shape was quietly spreading out above you? Thin cloud bands split apart, then came back together, stretching for tens of miles, turning the usual view into something with a cold beauty that you just couldn't look away from. Matthew 24:30. Then the sign of the Son of Man will appear in heaven, and all the tribes of the earth will mourn, and they will see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. When those cloud lines branch out like a backbone reaching across the horizon, it feels like something arranged on purpose, way beyond normal weather patterns. Each cloud branch layers like ribs, forming a huge frame silently covering the sky. Joel 2:2. A day of darkness and gloom, a day of clouds and thick darkness, like dawn, spreading over the mountains. This usually forms way up, tens of thousands of feet, where airwaves create long cirrus vertebratus layers, sections linking like bone segments. In many places around the world, from coastal cities to far-off ocean islands, the same kind of structure has been seen more and more often. A lot of folks say it's just a rare cloud type, but the unusual symmetry and how often it's showing up make that idea feel pretty weak. When the whole sky gets covered by a shape that reminds you of a giant skeleton, the line between a natural thing and some kind of symbolic message starts to blur, especially when these patterns stretch on for miles without a break. Revelation 1:7. Behold, he is coming with the clouds, and every eye will see him, even those who pierced him. Clouds that used to be just a calm background now become the setting for a strong reminder image. When the cloud branches cross like a huge backbone structure, the sky isn't just empty space anymore. It holds a sign that's hard to ignore. If this is the last time a pattern this symbolic shows up, what comes next might not be so easy to explain with everyday words. As that shape slowly fades into the late afternoon light, the question left isn't where it came from, but what might be waiting behind the next appearance in this wide sky. These 10 phenomena we've watched unfold right in front of us are like 10 pieces of a far bigger picture, one much larger than anything we humans can measure or fully explain. Strange lights in the sky, unusual shifts in nature, shapes that leave people amazed and uneasy. All of it seems to be telling one common story. It's not just about climate, the universe, or science. It's also about the times we're living in, about a wake-up call, and about a greater plan that's been revealed for thousands of years in the Bible. Luke 21:11 says, "There will be great earthquakes in various places, and famines and pestilences, and there will be terrors and great signs from heaven." Looking back at all these signs we've reflected on together, it's hard not to see this warning as the thread running through everything. What happens in the heavens and on earth no longer feels disconnected. It seems to be coming together, reminding us that we aren't in a random world, but in a flow that has a beginning and an end. Romans 13:11 says, "The hour has now come for you to wake from sleep, for salvation is nearer to us now than when we first believed." This isn't a message to scare us. It's a call to wake up. In the rush of daily life and all the usual noise, we can easily forget the most important thing, where our soul stands and what our faith is really resting on. If these signs truly are reminders, the response shouldn't be fear or confusion, but repentance, prayer, and turning back to the Lord. 2 Chronicles 7:14 promises, "If my people, who are called by my name, will humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven and will forgive their sin and heal their land." That promise is still just as true today. The greatest change doesn't start in the sky. It starts in human hearts when we humble ourselves and seek God. If anything from these 10 phenomena has spoken to you, please leave a prayer or your own thought in the comments below so we can encourage one another in faith. Share this video with your loved ones, give it a like, and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any upcoming messages. Each one could be the timely reminder we, or someone we care about really needs. Thank you for staying with me all the way to the end. May the Lord grant you and your family His peace, protection, and grace in every circumstance. Amen. What's really going on in the sky in 2026? Why are UFOs showing up so often, right out in the open, in front of millions of people? In Guatemala, a long glowing object sweeps across the sky and a mothership appears. In Alaska, a triangular craft makes the military scramble, then disappears. Out in the desert, an orb shoots straight up. At the Grand Canyon, a glowing object flies close along the cliff. Near Area 51, a secret team recovers something at night. New York catches an orb changing colors. Florida sees a glowing saucer up close. Italy has 3 orbs just hovering still. Off the beach, a huge object hangs right over the water. Are you noticing these signs? If you believe this is a warning, please leave a prayer in the comments as a way to show your faith in God. Amen. And now, so you don't have to wait long, we're going to get started right away with 1. Aliens in Guatemala. A strange object shot through the sky near the Gulf of Guatemala, slicing across the clouds, then speeding up like an arrow straight into the darkness. Folks in Villanueva, just outside Guatemala City, caught a steady, long-lasting light on video, no flashing like a regular plane. At the same time, the optics on an Apache helicopter picked up weird interference. The picture shook hard, then lost lock on the target. This same area had reports before about a mothership with 6 white lights lined up straight, hovering for several minutes before vanishing. This time, the new object stayed around 1,000 feet high, flying in a smooth, straight line, no wings, no sound. Radar within 5 miles showed intermittent jamming, then the target just disappeared from the screen like it was never there, leaving us with a mystery that's hard to explain. Luke 21:25 says, "There will be signs in the sun, moon, and stars. On the earth, nations will be in anguish and perplexity at the roaring and tossing of the sea. When strange lights appear overhead and people below watch in confusion, that warning feels clearer than ever." This wasn't just a dot in the sky. It reached right into the fears of folks on the ground. A lot of people quickly say it's a drone or some military test gear, but a drone can't glide that smoothly at 1,000 feet without making noise, and it sure wouldn't mess with an Apache's systems from far away. Joel 2:30 says, "I will show wonders in the heavens and on the earth, blood and fire and billows of smoke." When unknown objects show up more and more, those words don't feel like just symbols anymore. Witnesses from different angles all saw the same motion, the same light, and the same sudden end. No wreckage, no distress signal, just silence after it was gone. If this was just a mix-up, why did it leave such clear electronic traces? And why do we keep seeing more events like this? Guatemala might just be the starting point. An object appears, causes interference, then pulls back, like it's testing how the world reacts before moving on. And if it comes back, not just passing through the sky, but announcing something bigger, what exactly will we have to face next time? 2. Silence from the military in Alaska. A strange object was hovering offshore near Joint Base Elmendorf-Richardson. It forced fighter jets to scramble, but then everything went into a strange silence. And you're watching an event that even the military won't explain openly. Radar picked up the target about 10 miles from shore, just sitting still in the cold Arctic wind. No identification signal, no response to radio calls. Witnesses described a triangular craft, no wings, no obvious engines, hanging at 40,000 feet for several minutes. Airborne sensors caught intermittent jamming, data flickering, then gone completely as the F-22 got close. No explosion, no detailed official statement, just a short bit of info, and then it was closed, leaving a big dark space we have to think about. Matthew 24-29 says, "Right after those terrible days, the sun will go dark, the moon won't give light anymore, stars will fall from the sky, and the powers of the heavens will be shaken." When an object with no known origin makes modern defense systems react and then go quiet, it's not just a technical glitch. It feels like a warning about the shaking of powers up high. Some folks say it was just a balloon, but a balloon can't hold steady at 40,000 feet against strong Alaska winds. It sure can't jam military sensors and then leave the area without any wreckage like the shootdowns back in 2023. Luke 21:26 says, "People will be terrified, waiting for what's coming on the earth." That fear doesn't need an official announcement. It shows up in the caution and the information gap after the event. This area has a history of quiet objects spotted in the empty skies. But this time, it's different because of the military response and the lack of openness afterward. A craft shows up, challenges the surveillance system, then leaves without anyone clearly saying what happened. When the strongest power on Earth faces something it can't control, the warning isn't just about technology, it's about human confidence too. If Alaska was just a test, what happens when the next sightings don't stay hovering offshore, but come closer to populated areas? And if the powers of the heavens are really being shaken like the Bible warns, how many more silences like this will we see before the full truth comes out? 3. Rapid ascent in desert. Zooming straight up in the desert. A huge round metal object suddenly drops down onto the empty land, then shoots straight up into the sky in just a few seconds, leaving the sand completely untouched, like no thrust ever hit it. The whole thing was caught near a remote base area, about 2 miles away, and the 4K drone footage shows a perfectly straight, sharp, no-wobble path upward. Before it took off, that round shape was just hovering low and steady, no wings, no smoke, no engine roar. The telemetry data shared shows it hit around 500 feet per second, smooth, as if it was programmed that way. You watch it and realize there's no shaking, no swirling dust cloud like you'd get from a regular jet engine. This stretch of desert has had lots of reports before about small glowing orbs zipping across the Arizona sky, changing direction fast, then vanishing from sight. This time, instead of flying sideways, the metal thing chose to land, pause, then blast straight up, like it was testing the limit between ground and sky. No aviation warnings, no public military statement, just the video and data that force you to face something you've never seen before. Joel 2:33-1 says, "I will show wonders in the heavens above and signs on the earth below, blood, fire, and pillars of smoke. The sun will be turned to darkness, the moon to blood." Movements that break normal rules don't always need fire or smoke to be a sign. Sometimes, the total silence during that fast climb is what makes the Bible verse feel so real and close. Some folks say it's just a big drone or test equipment, but the estimated size and that 500 feet per second acceleration are way beyond common civilian stuff. Plus, it landed and balanced perfectly without any trouble. Those peanut-shaped crafts mentioned in other reports usually move sideways. They don't do this exact, clean vertical rise and drop. When aerodynamics get challenged like this, we have to rethink what we believe is possible. If this was a show of power, who's it meant for, and what's the point? Something lands, waits, then rockets straight up without a trace, like it's proving the line between sky and ground can be crossed anytime. And if these wonders in the heavens are just starting to show up more clearly, where will the next fast climb happen? And how much longer will we just stand and watch before we really understand what it means? 4. Grand UFO in Arizona. Lights up right in the canyon. A bright, white shape shot across the Grand Canyon cliffs. Quiet, but impossible to ignore. A tourist's camera shook as it glided past the red rock layers, about 500 feet up. You have to wonder, why would something show up in this ancient place that doesn't match any known flight? The Grand Canyon has long been called a hotspot for strange sightings. Plenty of videos on YouTube and Reddit show glowing dots moving straight along the cliffs. No wobble, no turns. This time, the white glowing object flew parallel to the rim, sharp and clear in 4K footage, not blurry like sunlight reflecting off anything. Revelation 6:12 says, "And I beheld, when the Lamb opened the sixth seal, and there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood." When the sky and earth move together in the same scene, the Bible isn't talking about random stuff. It's describing signs that break the normal order. That object didn't blink like a regular drone, made no engine noise, left no smoke trail. It held a steady height, flew straight for several seconds, then sped up and vanished behind a rocky point. Some skeptics say it was just a light effect, but light doesn't hold a fixed path on its own in desert wind. Joel 2:33-1 reads, "And I will show wonders in the heavens and in the earth, blood and fire, and pillars of smoke. The sun shall be turned into darkness, and the moon into blood." When strange signs appear together from desert to canyon, the Bible doesn't stay on the sidelines. It steps in like the explanation, saying that power from above can shake even the strongest symbols of earth. The Hopi legends talk about doors between worlds hidden in the rocks. But this wasn't just an old story passed down. This is recorded video, controlled movement, perfect path. If it's not human technology, then who's behind it? The Bible often speaks of stars falling and powers in the heavens being shaken. When a glowing object drifts through the Grand Canyon like a signal being sent, faith stops being a vague option and becomes the answer. Could the canyon be hiding something much bigger, and we're only seeing the beginning of what's about to break wide open? 5. Desert Tracker in Nevada. Right in the middle of the desert night, a bright white light pops up behind an SUV speeding down a Nevada highway, just 19 miles from Area 51. It doesn't flash, it doesn't drift, it doesn't fall back. It matches the car's speed perfectly, like a glowing shadow. This whole area sits right next to restricted airspace, where those plain white Janet flights take off and land every day. But this thing doesn't look like any regular aircraft. No familiar shape, no red and green flashing lights, no jet engine roar. According to reports spreading on Facebook and Daily Mail, plenty of drivers have caught these steady lights, keeping perfect distance, flying parallel for several minutes. Acts 2:19 says, "I will show wonders in the heavens above and signs on the earth below, blood, fire, and thick smoke." When a light shows up in the sky, right beside America's most secret spot, the Bible doesn't call it random chance. It calls it a sign. The dashcam shows the object holding steady height above the desert floor, not wobbling even in strong night wind. The car speeds up to 80 miles per hour. The light speeds up too, still sitting a few hundred feet back and just off to the right. Then the driver eases off the gas, and the light slows right along with it, almost like it's watching. If you were behind the wheel, wouldn't you feel like something was tracking you? Some folks say it's a military drone, but civilian drones aren't allowed that close to restricted zones, and no drone keeps that smooth a path without any shake at high speed. Compared to the Janet flights that follow clear routes, this thing doesn't show up on any public radar. Luke 21:11 says, "There will be great earthquakes, famines, and plagues in many places, and terrifying things, and great signs from heaven." Signs from heaven aren't just quick flashes. They're repeating signals, showing up near centers of power, as a reminder that no secret escapes the eyes of the Most High. Finally, the bright spot suddenly shoots forward, climbs fast, and vanishes into the dark in just a few seconds. No sonic boom, no smoke trail, no official explanation. It appears, follows, then leaves. If this isn't human technology, then who's watching? What's Area 51 really hiding? And why do these lights pick out lone cars in the middle of the desert? Could it be that before the final times begin, humanity is being watched more closely than ever? 6. Hidden retrieval near Area 51. A disc-shaped object lands in the Nevada desert. Then a team in black suits moves in fast and hauls it away in just a few minutes. The clip cuts off suddenly, right when the truck door slams shut. If you watch all the way to the last second, do you really believe this is just a hoax? The area, not far from Area 51, has long been tied to rumors about secret recovery operations. YouTube and the NY Post have mentioned reports of fallen objects, military lockdowns, and roads blocked off at night. This time, the footage shows a round structure sitting still on the sand, smooth surface, no markings, no smoke, no fire. Isaiah 13:10 says, "For the stars of heaven and their constellations will not give their light. The sun will be dark when it rises, and the moon will not give its light." When the lights in the sky go dark and whatever falls to earth gets hidden right away, those Bible words sound like a serious warning. Something is happening that's beyond human control. The video shows 4 people in dark clothing stepping out of 2 SUVs with no license plates. They don't run. They don't panic. They work like it's routine. Approach, check it out, lift the round object with some equipment, and load it into the truck. No fumbling, no arguing. Everything goes smooth, like they've practiced it many times. Compared to Roswell in 1947, where debris was first called a weather balloon, then later a dummy test story, this time there's no official explanation released. People bring up Bob Lazar's claims about secret research programs again, but the government stays quiet. Revelation 12:1 says, "A great sign appeared in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun, with the moon under her feet, and on her head a crown of 12 stars." The Bible talks about signs in the sky before big changes come. When those signs hit the ground and get rushed away, is humanity trying to cover up what was foretold? Some folks say this is just a clickbait stunt, but the smooth teamwork, the specialized gear, and the way they sealed off the area point to a professional operation. It doesn't look like some amateurs staging a scene in the desert. It feels like a familiar process that's been done before. If these recoveries are real, where are they taking the objects? What underground lab is studying them? And if these are signs of the end times, are we ready to face the truth when all the secrets finally come out? 7. Orb in New York. Gone in a flash. A glowing orb shot right across the live shot over the Hudson River, then changed color right in midair, white to green, in less than a second. No sound, no trace left behind. Is this just video interference? Or is something moving in close to the most crowded city in America? Fox 5 NY and the NY Post have reported sightings before, glowing objects flying near helicopters, gliding along the Manhattan skyline, then making sharp turns like they're being controlled. This time, the camera pointing out over the Hudson caught it perfectly. A small glowing orb appears on the left side of the screen, speeds across at 200-300 feet high, curves gently, and disappears behind the buildings. Did you catch that turn? Or am I the only one who sees a path that looks intentional? Luke 21:25-26 says, "And there will be signs in the sun, moon, and stars, and on the earth nations will be in anguish and perplexity at the roaring of the sea and the waves."